Hello, everyone. Welcome to Humans of Talos. I'm Amy Simonisi, and I'm here today with Bill Largent. Bill, how are you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself, Amy?
Doing really great. So Bill is on my team, strategic planning and communications. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Talos?
Yeah, so generally speaking, most of my time is still doing threat research, hunting, stuff like that. And then like 25 to 30% of the time, they deem me worthy of talking to people. So they let me out of the cage for a little while, put me in front of people. So I get to talk to the internal Cisco teams. I talk a lot with partners as well, which is really interesting, just talking about the state of things or helping them understand what's going on in the threat landscape, what Talos is and how we do things. And then also externally, and I get to talk to customers, which is really fun, especially because, my background, I did vendor agnostic remote managed services for years. And so I was running socks and so getting to talk to people who are doing that now is really kind of refreshing.
That is awesome. So you've been in Cisco for a while, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
what made you want to join Talos and how did that career transition kind of go for you?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So yeah, I've been here a very long. If you look me up on the directory, you'll see my photo is 24 years old or so, and it was taken of me on a Saturday or Sunday night at 2 or 3 a.m. Because I was working overnight shifts, and so it looks exactly like you'd imagine. And so getting to Talos was essentially many years ago, I started deciding that the axiom, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And so I started kind of tracking where are the smarter people and just kind of, going. And so, as you know, as a member of Talos, there's never a smarter room than the Talos room, right? Like it's
Yeah.
insane. And I mean that for any topic that you can think of: chaos theory, mathematics, planetary science, like beer making. Like it doesn't even matter if you think of something. Someone in Talos is a crazy expert at it, and so it's honestly great. But that's how I came to be at Talos: is try to find the smartest people in the room. And now I'm here, and I hope they don't remember I'm here most of the time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And I can definitely attest to the fact that people at Talos are the most skilled at what they do. We have a social room in WebEx for caffeine lovers, and the things that people do with their espresso machines and the way that they chart the pressure flow and the temperature, like it's absolutely nuts. And I'm here with my little like Keurig and French press. Like, am I
Yes.
doing it
Oh yeah.
well? I guess it tastes good. Before you were talking about how like working with people and especially people in Talos is just such a privilege. Is that your favorite thing about working in Talos, or are there other things about your day-to-day role that you really love?
Yeah, so for me, the people is a massive differentiator from working anywhere else. I feel super supported and also, engaged all the time. I will say that beyond the people, one thing that's really interesting in cybersecurity is that it evolves so fast and changes so much that you're never in a state of stasis. There's always some new stuff to be learning, and even though it's all cyclical, and so some of this comes back, and you're like, yeah, it's the same as it ever was. Yes, but there's so much difference that happens day to day, and it keeps my little squirrel brain occupied that way. And then I have supportive people who are like, yes, go learn that if that interests you, do that.
Right.
So yeah.
It benefits the whole team when
Right.
you are able to satiate that curiosity. We're gonna need
Correct.
that skill eventually in some sense.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I always ask is, what are you passionate about outside of work? But I think I know the answer to this one.
Yeah.
So during our first call when I joined in the beginning of 2025, we uh, talked so much about books and reading. Tell us maybe about some of your favorite books. Were you always a book nerd? Just yeah, Feel
Yeah,
free to
sure. So,
extrapolate.
I love talking books, obviously. You and I, could talk for endless amount of time.
Yeah.
I have always been a big reader. As a kid, I always credit A Wrinkle in Time and Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim as kind of the books that kind of kept me like getting into deeper reading. And then I read everything that you could put in front of me for a while. But I will say that going back. Uh, I guess to COVID brought me back into a deeper reading. My wife is a big reader too, and so we just kind of got deeper and deeper into reading. And I have a Bookstagram account, which also helps because you kind of have this community of people that are like, hey, I really read this and enjoyed this. I read this and it didn't, and it kind of gives you a good sense of community. Community is so important, right? In all the things that we do. So so it's that. And then beyond that, I guess for me in terms of I hate making I resist making top 10 lists every year because I hate to like categorize. But I've read I love fantasy books, and so I've read like every high fantasy that you can imagine, and I'm a huge Robert Jordan fan, and I love Stephen King and all that. But I also read a lot of literary fiction. I guess the thing that's transcended to me over time from the book world currently into the real world is remembering empathy or grace for people, because
Mm,
as these outages happen, it's not just these people, it's all these other people are truly now having the worst day of their whole lives, right?
yeah.
It's like when our IR team goes in,
Yes.
they're going into everyone's worst day. And so whatever is said or behaviors are shown, that's not necessarily who that person is on any given day, but it is who they are in the moment because it's their worst day, right?
Right.
And so trying to have grace and empathy for all of those things uh, has helped a lot for me in terms of mentally
Yeah.
aligning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give someone, whether they have a technical background or not, who wants to join a team like Talos?
So I'm big in my mentoring phase right now. It's a great question on so many levels, but one thing I will say is that you get to Talos and you get to where we are in this team. You It takes a massive skill set of doing all these different things. But I came from a non-technical background, right? I was a line cook and a dessert chef, and I was an EMT paramedic, right? Like I did all these other bar backing. Like I played in metal bands, but I wasn't like
Mhm.
there was no computering going on, but I do have an innate curiosity. I love puzzles. I like role playing games. I like games of, like Go or chess or any of these things, but also like the different board games or, like 1010 or
Mhm.
Sudoku or any of these things like that. If you enjoy those things and those challenges, especially something like that where it's like never the same twice, like the Sudoku or something, but it tickles your mind and you enjoy that, not just finishing it and like that, but the actual process of it. Those things go hand in hand with a career in cybersecurity, and that will lead you to a team like Talos. And by and large, if you have that ingrained curiosity, I feel like you'll succeed and find other folks that are like that. And that, it's kind of a chicken and egg, but that's where you'll find your people is by, leaning into your innate curiosity. Never be afraid to say, I don't know. That's a
Mhm.
hard one, right? And that's a
Yeah.
really hard one on interviews, right? Like, I don't know is scary, but it's the right answer because you don't.
Right.
But always remember the most important answer is I don't know, but I'd love to learn about it, find out about it, love for you to teach me about it, love for you to show me, right? Because
Right.
that's the answer. It's not just I don't know, it's I don't know, but, and that's really a great thing.
Yeah, and it's also, "I don't know, but here's what I might do to find things out."
Correct.
Shows huge
Yeah.
initiative, thinking
Right.
about, how to solve a problem that you don't really know how to approach in the first place. Yeah.
Right. And you want to take that first step yourself, like you said, but you also want to be the person that says, I don't know, I will learn so that next time it won't come up.
Yep.
But also, I'm open to learning. But yes, my process would be I would try these 7 things and
Mhm.
six of them would fail, but one of them might not. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, Bill, thank you so much for joining me today. That was such a great conversation.
Thank you. It was super fun. And we'll finish this call and then go talk books.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I actually have a board game recommendation for you after this,
Uh,
so
Very cool. See, there you go.
right? Well, if you like this series, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you're notified when the next episode is up. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.
See ya.